All right, welcome back, you guys. This is episode 2 of Okay, What's Next. I'm your host, Kayli Worden, and today I have on a very good friend of mine. This is Miss Lonnie Tyler.
Hey
Hi, Lon.
guys. Hello, Kaylee.
Hi again. So, funny story. I think beginning your own podcast and content creation as a whole is a lot of trial and error. And I especially appreciate Lonnie this week because we sat on StreamYard recording for about an hour and 10 minutes yesterday, and I pretty much effed up the whole thing. But it's okay because we're back today and we're actually going to do a different topic, but I'm more excited about this topic because I think this will be a lot of fun. And I also think that to those of you listening, you might benefit from this conversation. So before we get into it, Lon, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
I am 22, almost 23. I'm 1 year out of college. I graduated from San Diego State. I'm a journalism girl, but now I'm working kind of in marketing. Um, I'm also a single girl in her dating era for the first time for the last year. Um,
Ooh.
so I think that'll be fun for today's topic. And yeah, I'm a Virgo for anybody who cares. And I think that's the most important things about me that I can think of.
Cool. Beautiful. I think all very good things. So for today's episode, Lonnie and I are going to compile a list of green flags that I think apply to early adult dating. I think this is very specific to like early 20s, and a lot of the things that are on our list, or specifically mine, is from my followers on Instagram. So I think this is going to be super fun because we're going to take a dive down this list and kind of throw out our opinions. I didn't just put the green flags that I agree with, which I think will make for good conversation. So we're just kind of going to get into it and we're going to talk about green flags that people have for both men and women, which is even more exciting because we get to see like the male perspective. So bear with us. Here we go. Let's get into it. Complete list of green flags. Before we start, thank you to those who contributed on Instagram at K Silly Little Life. I know it was like kind of hectic and last minute, and I posted it last night, but I got a lot of responses. So thank you to those who are listening and contributed to the list. This is also in no order. I literally just jotted these down as they came in. So they're going to kind of be all over the place. And some of them are very specific, but regardless, let's just do it. Okay. So the first one on our list is she doesn't talk shit about her close friends.
True. Duh.
So true. I think that yeah. I think that's a green flag in any sort of relationship. I don't think that's just a green flag in romantic
Yeah.
relationships.
Like scary if you
Yeah,
meet someone and they're like, "Oh yeah, but so and so." And meanwhile they're the like best friends.
I know. That's gross. Yeah, and you don't want that kind of person in your life. Okay. Um when his love language isn't physical touch.
True. So true. Like that takes so much. It feels like it takes so much thought for them to even know all 5 of them, and then to
Yeah.
understand what the other ones mean. Like, I'm sure a lot of people who say that theirs is physical touch probably just don't understand the other ones as well as I might.
Or even know what the other ones
Yeah,
are. Like, they're probably just like, "Oh, I love cuddles, so I'm a physical touch
yeah,
guy." Yeah. Um, some girls love physical touch. I personally am one that, like, used to hate it. I was so I wouldn't even hug my friends, like, doesn't mean I love them any less, but I'm slowly getting better at it. I think in my new relationship, I've been much more open to physical touch. However, I think sensory overload is so
yeah.
real, and I think it's kinda gross if you're, like, past the age of 15 and you're, like, can't hang out in a group setting without touching each
Yeah.
other. I don't know,
Too much
yeah,
PDA.
yeah, such PDA. Also, if you are someone who doesn't know all of the languages, please go look at them right now. Please just pause this video, go look them up, go read a thing or two on them, and if you're in a relationship and you haven't taken the quiz yet, take the quiz, or even if you're not in a relationship, take the love language quiz. It really helps you navigate yourself and your understanding of your partner. Just go, just do it. Okay. Um, when they're passionate about something,
Duh.
duh. Yeah, yeah. That's pretty broad. I mean,
It
yeah,
depends on what the
duh.
passion
Um,
is, but
yeah. Yeah. I can concur to that. I mean, I think, like, to a certain degree, if you aren't a fan of what they're I don't know, I don't wanna say not a fan of what they're passionate about because you can have different interests as, like, the person you're interested in, but if they're, like, doing some weird I don't even
yeah.
heebie-jeebie stuff, then, like, yeah, that there's a line for sure. Okay, this topic came up a lot, which I'm not surprised by at all, but this is the broad category of therapy, and I think my favorite point that got brought up was understanding therapy even if they don't choose it for
Mhm.
themselves. Because a lot of people slid up and they were like, they have to go to therapy, like green flag if they go to therapy. And while I'm a huge advocate for it, not everyone can benefit from
Yeah.
therapy, but not everyone needs to go to therapy. So what do you think?
I totally agree. I think and also as somebody who for the first time just briefly had a dating stint with someone that did go to therapy that totally didn't work out. It doesn't always mean that that person's better than someone who doesn't,
Perfect.
but I agree that
Yeah.
being open to it, understanding it, um, I think being supportive of the idea of it is a green flag. But
Yeah, and respecting it because there's, like, some people that kinda shit on therapy, and that's a total red
yeah.
flag. But what were you gonna say?
Oh, I was gonna say the timing of that is funny after all the Jonah Hill drama, and
Oh my gosh, let's talk
that's an
about it.
example of someone who did go to therapy, but obviously used it in a negative way. But that's not I would
Yeah,
hope that's not typical, I don't know.
and I've been, like, meaning to reach out to you personally because prior to this, you were,
That's
like,
my
Jonah
king,
Hill's
that was my king.
biggest fan.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
it's really tough times to
yeah,
be, a super bad stan, to be a stan of, like, all of his work, it's a really hard time. So, we're coping, we don't stan anymore, but
yeah.
that's what
So,
it's like to like an
to
idol.
those of you Yeah, I know, it's really devastating, but, like, to those of you who might not know what's happening or haven't been on Instagram in the last 4 days, Jonah Hill was exposed by his ex-girlfriend who is this, like, super rad hot surfer chick, and she basically was posting text messages that he had sent her during their relationship. And what was interesting is that when I was reading them, I was like, I feel like these are all the same text, just like different synonyms. And so it exposed Jonah Hill of being incredibly I mean, I would say he was just incredibly disrespectful towards her and her body, and he crossed so many boundaries and the way he communicated
Well,
I
he
think
felt like
it's really
those
sad.
he used therapy and the idea of boundaries to, like,
Yeah,
disrespect their boundaries, but as somebody who's received
yeah,
almost word for word those texts, it's on my TikTok, that specific text that was word for word the same, it just is
yeah.
such, like, a place like, comes from a place of such insecurity. I think deep down that's what it
Oh,
really is
absolutely.
somebody that's just
Yeah.
so insecure and, like, has traits of being really narcissistic too.
Yeah, so basically, he was telling his girlfriend at the time that she wasn't allowed to hang out with certain people that he hadn't approved of in the surfing community. He was telling her she couldn't post things in a bathing suit when she was a surfer, like, she surfed for a living, couldn't post in a bathing suit, she couldn't do, like,
Sh
surfing photo
she
shoots,
could
right?
yeah, not that,
Yeah,
no modeling, she couldn't have certain types of friends, like friends that are single or anything, and the words that really hit me that were so familiar were him being like, "If that's the kind of thing that's important to you, then I'm not the guy for you," which was just so
yeah.
token manipulative and secure guy text.
Yeah. I hate it. I hate the whole wardrobe thing. This is also pretty relevant in, what's happening with Kiki
Oh, yeah.
Palmer and her baby
Mhm.
daddy right now because she posted a video or somebody posted a video of her and Usher at an Usher concert, and she was wearing a bodysuit with, like, a sheer thing over it, but, like, She was dancing, hanging out at Usher's concert. It's Keke
She looked
Palmer,
good.
she looked good. She looked so good, and she's also just has that, like, like, she is just so extroverted, she's there for a good time, and this video of Usher singing to her, and that's a whole different, like, story. Usher is, like, a category in its own, but Usher singing to her, and her literal baby daddy quotes this video on Twitter and straight up is like, "You are a mother," like, cover up, basically.
Mhm. It was so Twitter troll, and,
Ick!
simultaneously, he was posting pictures in the mirror in his boxers, so a little confusing.
So gross. I also just didn't appreciate his, like, whole excuse and defense for it
Yeah.
because he followed us like, it was very similar to Jonah. I mean, Jonah's was just, like, complete Jonah, like, we're on first name basis, but Jonah Hill's was, like, completely narcissistic, manipulative, like, it was using therapy as an excuse for boundaries, but Keke Palmer's baby daddy, I don't think they're married. I
Yeah,
don't
I
know if
don't
they're
know
dating or if they're
the
married.
details on that, but I don't think they're
I don't know the
together.
relationship status, but he basically was like, "She is the mother of my child, and I have a set of expectations and standards of respect and decency for my
Mhm.
family, and she
He might
disrespected."
have
I don't know, it
literally
was
used
weird.
the word
Regardless.
boundaries. I think he also used that exact word, which
Okay,
is
so these
crazier.
men just, like, aren't understanding the meaning of boundaries, I think,
Buzzword.
in this like, you can't tell your girlfriend what she can't wear and excuse it as those are your boundaries. I don't know, just don't tell your girlfriend that she can't wear
Yeah,
something.
period.
That's the solution. Okay, back to therapy.
Mhm.
Yeah, some people can use it, some people might not need it. But regardless, I think the overall respect and support of it, I think is a huge green
Mhm.
flag. Okay. Um, when she reads,
True, as a reader, I think that's awesome.
I think that's great. I think that's really great. However, like, I know people I did a poll on my Instagram, like, when I first started it, and I was like, "Do you read?" And most people were like, "No."
Really?
But then, like, my follow-up yeah, I would say that yes was the least selected
Mm.
answer, and then the follow-up was like, "Do you wish you read?" And, like, most people were like,
Yeah.
"Yes, I really do like, wish I read more." And I have a theory, but I
Spill
don't
it.
know how well supported it is. I think that okay, I love English, I respect the English literature, and I respect the English curriculum, especially in college, especially in
She's
high
a
school
stan.
for those who followed the AP route, but I think reading was so shoved down our throats as children in elementary school, and not shoved down our throats in the sense where it was like, "Read, read, read," but it's also it became a task that we felt obligated to do that we didn't want to do,
Yeah,
and so I think that really ruined a lot of people's desire to read as we got
yeah.
older because now it doesn't they don't associate it as a leisure time activity, they associate it as a book report that they have to write or a chart that they have to lie on and get their parents to sign off on
I was
that they have
just
to, like,
thinking
turn
about
in.
that the other day, and, like
Reading logs,
yeah,
that's
and
what
I
they're
was
called.
thinking, like, God, my forged signatures were probably such garbage, like, my teachers were really nice to allow them.
We were all doing it, like, we were all doing it, but anyways, yeah, it's hot when people read.
Yeah.
Okay, agreed. I particularly liked this one. When they played sports growing up, but they don't bring up high school football all the time in their
So
mid-20s.
true.
So true.
Honestly, I
Because
can say that, like, I haven't encountered that before, thank God. Even dating a
okay.
captain of the football team for so long, that person never spoke of football, ever.
Well, they were probably pretty
Yeah, they
traumatized
did talk about
or had a
getting
lot of head injuries that they just, like, didn't even
yeah, they
remember.
talked about, like, throwing up from practice and that we couldn't eat certain food because of it, but that was the only time it came up, so
Yeah. I've never personally not anyone that, like, I have, like, been with or talked to or whatever has brought it up, but I've been in situations where, like, these 23-year-old guys who are well out of college are still talking about that touchdown
no.
that they scored in the semifinals to go to the championship after winning their division,
Oh
and I'm
my
just like,
god.
"Go play
S
pickleball. Find a
yeah.
new hobby." Um, yeah, I don't think you should bring up high school football after high school. Maybe freshman year, I get that.
Yeah,
But after that, off topic,
hard
like,
pass. It's
no.
not a
But
pregame
hard
conversation.
pass. No, it's not. It's not. It's not bar
Yeah.
talk. But playing sports when you're growing up, I mean, it teaches you, like, team etiquette, I
Mhm.
guess. It's good. Okay. Knows how to dress well.
Yeah.
It's obvious. Humble, 4 exclamation points.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
however,
like confidence though.
I will
Humble
say
while being
what's that?
being humble while being confident.
Yes. Yes, because you can't have, like, a humble guy like, this guy is who's I don't wanna say insecurity is masked as, like, being
No, yeah.
humble. Does that
Yes,
make
that's
sense?
how I would describe it.
Yeah,
Is like I think with it can
okay.
teeter on a really fine line of like, are you humble or are you just not very confident in yourself?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. But on the other end of the scale, like, being too confident is, like, such a turn off.
Mhm.
But then again, some girls, like that. Like, some girls go for the cocky guy.
Yeah, guilty. Guilty.
So, I don't know, but it doesn't mean it's a green
Yeah.
flag. Okay, this one I think is kind of controversial,
Mm.
and I'm sure some people would agree, but speaks highly of their exes.
Mm.
I've heard this a lot. I've heard I've heard people be like, if they speak highly about their ex, then that's a good thing,
Yeah.
which I understand. Like, I totally get that. But on the other side of it, it's like, how highly are we
Yeah.
talking here?
You know, I see, like,
Yeah,
in so many things of, like, dating advice, I guess specifically more geared towards women, that you shouldn't, like, meet a new guy and be like, "Oh, my ex was horrible, blah, blah, blah," because you don't want them to think, like, that you tolerate that. But then it's like, well,
right.
A, I'm not gonna be lying. B, I'm not gonna be going to some new guy and being like, "Ah, my ex was just the best. He would always do this for me."
I know,
And
I know.
if a guy was
Yeah,
doing
he was just so
like,
lovely.
if a guy was doing that with me, I would just walk away. Like, I don't even think I could consider it because it would just feel a little
Yeah.
iffy.
It is totally iffy, but I also, like I remember one thing that really stood out to me when I was at the beginning of my single era and trying to
Mhm.
navigate it. I remember watching this TikTok or something on Twitter that was like, if you are talking to a guy and he repeatedly explains or describes his ex-girlfriend as
Right.
crazy, please please consider what made you feel crazy in your previous relationships. And I'm like,
I
okay,
think
so like I
neutrality
did.
is the best. Like,
Oh
just
yeah.
I wanna know what happened, to be honest, but I think I don't ever wanna be hearing you badmouth them as much as you can avoid it.
Yes. Yeah, I think so because, like, I had a relationship that ended very
Mhm.
poorly, and I that doesn't mean that I have to be necessarily a fond of my ex, but I also don't need to be, like and I'm not, like, saying all these horrible things about
Yeah.
him because it's not necessary to do that at all.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know, I think let us know what you think.
Yeah.
I I don't know, I'm pretty split on that. I mean, I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't be turned I don't think I'd be turned off by it, but I also don't think I'd be like, "Wow, like, what a mature
Yeah, I
specimen."
think it's case by case, and I hate to say it, but I think boy versus girl, things differ a little in
I
how those
yeah,
things go. So I would agree that I'm split and I prefer neutrality.
neutrality is good. I cool. I can agree with that. Okay. Next is goes to the gym and eats healthy, of
Yes.
course. Um, yeah, the gym one's interesting because I don't know, I feel like college is such an awkward gym time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, some people don't work out. I mean, I was, like, not this, like, gym goer when I was in school, personally. I wasn't, like, that girl that was at the gym all the time. I went sometimes, but it's tough. That's tough. But there's also people I knew that, like, didn't go to the gym at all, and they, like, were healthy and
I
looked
think
great.
it's, like, also the culture of where you're at because I'll say in San Diego
Mm,
and, like, Southern California in general, like, everybody goes to the gym or everybody does Pilates or everybody does some form of activity, but, like, being back
right.
up north, that's not common at all. But I think it's, like, a green flag if somebody just has an activity of moving moving their
Yeah.
body. Like, it doesn't.
Or if they're, like, active consistently throughout the week.
Yeah.
I think that's, like, doesn't have to be the gym, but I totally see where that's
Healthy
coming
eating
from.
is cool too, but I personally
Healthy eating
feel
is cool.
attacked by it because I'm not the healthiest eater.
I think it's also, like, it's so hard to be healthy at our age that it's, like, it's so tough, and produce is, like, crazy
Yeah.
expensive.
A
I
banana a
also
day keeps the
yeah, I
doctor
don't know,
away.
exactly, and I also, like, we're so young that we're like, "Oh my gosh, what does, like, this meal how does this meal impact my metabolism now?" You know what I mean? Like, we just don't consider it the way adults do,
Yeah,
I feel like. I don't know. Okay, when they don't get shit-faced hammered every single time they go out, especially at the beginning.
true.
True, but sometimes things
Yeah.
happen.
I think
You
scenario
yeah,
matters. Like, if it's somebody that you already know and it's friends, then, like, you've probably already been drunk around them. And
yeah,
I
so
think, like,
it's like
getting drunk with someone is personally not something I hate, but
I don't either, it's fun. You have
but being,
fun,
like, sloppy is
but that
crazy.
doesn't yeah, sloppy is gross. I mean, like, whatever, it happens,
Yeah,
but, like, also, like, if it's happening frequently, then, like, that's gross. They aren't afraid of apologizing.
true.
I like this one a lot because I think apologizing is something that people struggle with, both men and women. They're like, I know I used to be so stubborn,
Same.
um, and I just, like, I'm correct all the time hat
Yeah,
is on. Like, I don't know, but I think being able to apologize to someone when you know you're in the wrong is a very important thing, and when someone can do that, it's, like, almost comforting
yeah,
because you know that they can navigate conflict well and that, like, especially if you were in a toxic relationship or an unhealthy relationship where fighting was, like, super prevalent and heightened and was, like, really, really ugly and
mhm.
bad, then having someone apologize is definitely
It, like, saves you the
feel
fight.
good.
Like, there is no fight.
Totally,
It's
totally.
just a conversation.
It can be that easy
Yeah,
sometimes.
sometimes.
Okay, this one's pretty broad, but just takes initiative. I don't know in which
Maybe, like,
realm.
plans. Like, I think I would interpret that
Okay.
and like, a green flag to me is if somebody were to, like, plan something, which I think is, like, a trait of initiative.
Oh, I love it. It's so
Yeah.
hot when someone, like, plans something. Yeah, that I love that a lot. This one I loved, insists on ordering dessert.
Oh, that's cute.
Isn't that
Yeah.
cute? I love that a lot. That was definitely Karina. So, shout out Karina. But that I love that a lot, especially because sometimes we might not order it,
Yeah.
but we might want it.
I think I'm
Or even,
like
like
an extra
oh, wait, go for it.
appetizer. Like, I think I'm more of a savory
Yeah.
girl, but I think it's so great when I'm, like, between appetizers and they're like, "Let's just get them both." I'm like, "Ah,
Oh, I love
okay."
appetizers. Big
Yeah.
app girl. But I also love dessert too. I'm also a huge fan of, like, ice cream after dinner, like, walking and getting to like, going to get ice cream. I just dessert is so good. So okay. Um, this one's probably I don't know. So, isn't afraid of being emotional, but also isn't too emotional and trauma dumps everything on you as if you're their therapist.
It
That
sounds
one sounds
personal. Yeah.
personal. Yeah.
I think agree.
Yeah. I think, like, if someone can be vulnerable
Mhm.
with you I also think, like, it shouldn't be an immediate thing. I think that can be a little bit of a red flag if
Absolutely.
someone's, like, immediately dumping their emotions on you. That can be a little
Yeah.
intimidating, but if it's, like, something that's gradually happening at the same time,
Yeah.
then
Vulnerability with
yeah,
boundaries. Key.
absolutely. I like that. That's good, that's good. Okay. This one's funny. You don't know the people they've previously hooked up with, and in parentheses, small school, so it's
Yes,
hard.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Being able to, like,
I
count on my
think
fingers with names and then doing that again in college, like, destroyed me, honestly, like, I'll
yeah.
pass.
I think ugh. So, Chico was really small. Chico was a small school, especially if you were part of Greek life, most people knew
Yeah,
each other. Like, you walk into the bar and you know almost every single person that's in Greek life there. You go to the same frat parties. So that one was tough.
yeah,
That, like, not knowing people's histories and who people had been with or dated or hooked up with was really hard because the circle is so
yeah.
small. So, I get it. But if you don't know, if you haven't heard anything about that person, then that is, like, a total green flag. But
But
then, at
yeah,
the same time,
there's a but dude,
it's like, "Why haven't I heard anything about this person?"
I was
Like,
just talking about this with my best friend Ava, and we were talking like we're both from the same small town. And we're talking about how, oh, well, we know every single person that we meet that's from here who they've hooked up with. But then we were talking about like when you meet somebody that's a stranger, like if I'm meeting somebody from outside of the area, I don't know anything about their background. And then we were like, that's also kind of scary because then you don't know, is it someone in their friend group? You don't know if it's somebody that's got
oh,
like a
that one's tough.
really
The friend group is really
yeah, you don't
hard.
know if it's somebody that, like, has a really bad reputation or something, or if they're just, like, willy-nilly out and about. I think that's just as
Yeah,
scary, but I'm an ignorance is bliss
yeah.
girl, I think. Yeah, seriously, truly, I think I'd rather just not know
I
anything.
think I'd like to think I'm an ignorance is bliss girl, but I also think I'm just, like, so damn nosy that I just wanna know. But also, it's so hard because it's like, are your, like, kinda, like, small thoughts worse, or is the truth worse?
Well, I
Or
think as someone that was nosy, curiosity killed the cat, and it
oh, absolutely,
absolutely
absolutely.
murdered it.
Curiosity always kills. Oh, just
Yeah,
it
like,
totally kills it.
couldn't move past it. So, I've learned I'm without
Yeah,
choice
sometimes
an
that is the
ignorance is
case.
bliss girl for everybody's benefit.
I think that's definitely the mature way to go. I think don't ask if you don't want the answer.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, no, that's very tough is, like, not knowing someone's history, but also, like, do you really want to know do you wanna be able to count on your finger and name people on your hand and count Jesus, what am I
No,
saying?
yeah.
Do you wanna be able to, like, name people that they've been with? Like, that's the worst
Mhm.
because, like, then you know, and you every time you see their name on social media, you're like,
Yeah,
"Ugh,
you
that
see them out at the
sucks."
bar, and it's like, "Hey,
Yeah,
sister."
yeah, it's just a very
Yeah.
awkward, encounter. Okay, next, um, knows the sidewalk rule.
Mm. You know,
I feel like this is a little outdated, but I think, like, the traditionality behind it is endearing.
I have to say I'm really controversial on that one because the way I see
Okay.
it, I'm more scared of what's creeping in the alley.
Next to
Yeah,
the wall
seriously,
and the
if you walk
bushes.
around in
Yeah.
anywhere in downtown, I think I'm more scared of that because let's be real, he's not gonna protect me from getting hit by a car. Like, the car is not gonna stop it. So I think
Yeah.
I prefer for them to be where the dark doors and windows and alleys are in case somebody were to jump out and I can
I
run.
I get that. I don't think I've put that much thought into it, but that
I
is, like, a
always do
super
because so
strong
many
argument.
guys, like, first dates, guys think it's such a win to, like, move you and prove
Oh
that they
my
know it.
god, and they, like, make
Yeah.
it such a point to be like, "I'm standing next to the
Mhm.
sidewalk." Okay, like, it's so weird. I actually feel like I haven't really encountered that a lot. I feel like I haven't been like, I don't think a lot of the guys that, like, I've either gone on dates with or, like, dated have really been like, "I'm standing next to the road," and, like, made it a thing. However, I will say that I do recall one boyfriend just it did that. Like, he just made sure every time that I knew that he was doing the sidewalk rule, and I'm like, "Bro, we've been together for over a year, like, you don't need to do that."
Yeah.
I see you. I get it. I just appreciate you. Like, but yeah, I that's a pretty I don't know.
Ladies, I think you should,
I
like,
it is
consider your
endearing.
safety. For anyone listening, I hope you just think about it a little. If you're, like, in a rural area, then sure, whatever. But I think if you're
Yeah.
walking and there's some little dark corners, I think you should maybe consider your safety a little on this rule and rethink it.
In terms of, like, green flags, so if a guy does it, he thinks he's, like, doing the right thing, and if he's not a total asshole about it
Yeah.
and, like, makes sure then, like, I can understand how that's a green
Yeah.
flag. Like, I get that. Not something I think I would personally look at, but I can see why
It's
others might.
chivalry.
Chivalry, and they say chivalry is dead. Speaking of chivalry, the next one is opens doors
Oh,
for you,
yeah.
which
Absolutely.
unfortunately I feel like isn't that common anymore, which is why it's like when someone does it, it's so meaningful. Like when it's happened to me, I've like totally made a point of it. And I'm like, oh my God, they opened my door for
Like, are
me.
you talking car door?
Like any door. Oh, I think car door is what I'm referring
Okay.
to, but I guess like doors are typically opened.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever opened a door for myself, but the car door thing, not e I don't know, it's, like, not even something I think about, but I think the car door is a cute gesture, but I think it doesn't need to happen every single time. Like,
Oh, I don't
I'm
think
an
it has to happen
independent
because then it's like
woman.
I'm here. Yeah, and I'm right
It's like
here.
a
I'm
whole
just
thing,
standing here. I
everybody's
You don't have to do that in
watching,
this
and
car.
it feels so
I
performative.
know, I know. It is
Yeah.
performative. But the doors for sure. I think sometimes like, obviously, if it's, like, the first couple dates, they should definitely be opening your door for you, but I think, like, I'm, like, thinking right now, like, when I, like, hang out with Ryan, I'm pretty sure I, like, will open a door.
Sometimes I'm a fast mover, I'm a fast walker,
That's
so
what I mean, like, I'm
sometimes
just there
that's
first,
what
like,
it
I'll just
is.
I'll just
Yeah.
open it. Yeah. Ryan, if you're listening, start opening my
You better
door for me.
run.
God.
Run to get there.
I know, you better sprint. If you don't get out of the car, unbutton your seatbelt, turn off the car, run out and beat me and open my door, then it's over. Okay, just kidding. Um, ooh, this one was also big a very popular one. Text instead of using Snapchat and ask for your number instead of your socials.
Yes.
That's a given. If you are a man listening to this right now, don't ask a woman for her Snapchat.
And
Just don't do it.
also,
You don't need her
don't try to
Snapchat.
have conversations in DMs. I have some guy friends that tell me
Oh,
that they're like, "Oh, yeah, I'm talking to this girl." And I'm like, "Oh, cute." And then they'll, like, explain it further, and I'm like, "You're doing this over Instagram? Like, you're setting up dates over
yeah.
Instagram."
Oh, that's gross. Ask for
Like,
her phone number. Text her
what's the
like an
problem with
adult.
just texting?
I don't like that.
Honestly, email
I don't
me.
respond. I wouldn't.
Like, I would prefer email over.
Yeah, that's weird. Like, if you are, like, starting to talk to someone and you are only communicating to them on
Mhm.
Snapchat, like, gross. D don't talk to them anymore. If they're only communicating to you through social media,
Bad vibes.
cut it. Bad vibes. Okay. Okay, this was also a huge one, which is going to be no surprise at all, but treats his mom well, has a good relationship with his family, has a strong relationship with his
Mhm.
siblings, is respectful to their family in general, like, doesn't scream at them, doesn't fight in front of you, like, just well-rounded, family-oriented, really respects his mom. But I want
Yeah.
to add that there is a fine
Yeah.
line between, like, respecting his mother and, like, considerably in love with his mother,
Agreed.
mommy's boy.
Me and the girls talk about this
Yeah.
all the time. Like, we're not mama's boy girls. Like, I think if you're telling me that your mom is your best friend I'm already scared of what that
Oh, I
means.
just literally cringed.
Like,
I'm
I
like,
don't wanna
"Gross."
know anything.
Okay. Your
I
mom
think
should not be your best friend if
sister
you're a grown man.
relationships I prefer. Like, if you're close with your sister, I think that's way more green flag.
Yeah, and, like, respect your
Yeah.
sister. I know I was with someone who, like, just totally treated their sister like shit, and I hated it. And then I also dated someone that, like, was way too close to their mom
Mhm.
that, like, if we had a disagreement, I was literally fearful that his mother would text me.
Yeah,
I don't know,
know what you mean.
gross. Gross, 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 gross. There yeah, just have a normal relationship with your mom. It's okay to love your mom and, like, be normal about it. It doesn't have to be like, "My mom's my best friend."
She doesn't need to be
Your
doing
mom is
your
your best friend. I'm
laundry.
so sorry if I'm offending you.
She doesn't need to be
What's that?
doing your laundry and any of the sort.
Like, yeah, yeah. Anyways, that's the whole mom thing. I'm sure people have more to say about that,
Yeah.
but I think we just keep it short and concise. Green flag has a
Yeah.
dog. It
A
shows
well-behaved
responsibility.
dog.
Okay.
Mhm.
Is that coming from personal
Yeah, it
experience?
is.
Wanna talk about
Yeah,
it?
it is. I'll keep it short and sweet. I just think if you
Okay.
have really misbehaved dogs, I don't wanna be around your misbehaved dogs, and I'm so sorry, but I don't want to be being clobbered by something that weighs as much as I do, nor do I want it stealing the food off my plate. And so if you don't teach your dog some manners, it's a no for me.
I'm out. It's also, like, at the beginning, like, you have to be,
Oh
like,
my god,
nice about it. Like,
that reminds me of recently someone's dog literally attacking me and biting me and left marks on me, and then I posted it to my private story, like a video of the dog attacking me, and I said, "Oh my god,
oh
this
god.
dog won't stop biting me," and then said person saw and was like, "Oh, what's that?" And then I felt like a monster, but then I was kinda like, "Okay, well, you just watched your dog
Yeah.
sit and bite my arm till it was bruised for 30 minutes." I've had a lot of
That is
what
awful.
a lot of boys don't have trained dogs, I'm coming to realize.
Okay, so let's edit that to has a trained dog, a
I'm,
well-behaved,
like,
mannered dog.
traumatized, actually.
I don't think I've ever met a guy that has, like, a bad dog. I also don't know a lot of guys, like, with their own
Mhm.
dogs that isn't, like, their family dog, you
These
know?
were f Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah.
They're like
Okay,
house
train your dog.
dogs, but they're like, "This is my baby," and I'm like, "Well, your baby
Gotcha.
must be really jealous or something because she's attacking me."
Oh god, it's like the mom
Yeah,
relationship in dog
yeah,
form. Okay, next green flag, knows how to cook.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
I'm getting there. Um, this one is interesting too. So, no social media or has a private account with low
No,
followers. You disagree.
I think that you're probably a weirdo.
I
Or I'm, like,
understand
cautious, I'm
that.
cautious, for sure. I like to
Okay.
s Yeah.
I definitely am for the private account. If you're a
Private
public
account,
account,
yes.
I just don't like that. I just assume that you're just like waiting for bitches to
True, true.
just
I
crawl
think
in.
no social presence, though, is scary.
Yeah, I think like if you just have like a normal looking account,
Mhm.
it's simple. Follow up, doesn't follow a crazy amount of Instagram
Oh my god,
models.
yeah, if you're following Instagram models, period, I'm, like, not into it.
I hate that a lot. I hate that a lot. Back when I was like young and like I don't know, in my
Mhm.
dating era, I remember like talking to this guy and I'll say it. I looked at his following.
Don't we
I'll
all?
say it. And it was just I was like, "Oh my god, it's just crazy." I'm like, "We're following the same girls."
Yeah, I always
Stop.
see, like, some of my mutuals, um, I'll, like, see them in likes of my favorite girlies, and sometimes it's, like, weird like,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's kind of more wholesome because obviously I really like really wholesome creators who do, like, cool things, but sometimes I'll see them on, like,
Yeah,
my favorite fashion and TikTok cooking girls page and their likes, and I'm kind of just confused. But
that
I
makes
guess I'm
sense.
not
That is
it's, like,
confusing.
different than if it's, like, those profiles, like, if it was, like, a lot of OnlyFans and bikinis and things, then I would just be like, "Don't you
Yeah.
doesn't your mom follow you and she sees that you're following these things?" Like,
I don't think guys think of that. I don't think guys remember that their following is public.
I wish they did.
Yeah, so consider this your sign. Okay, cleanliness, has clean sheets,
Mhm.
doesn't let their bedroom get too out of
Yeah,
hand. Yeah, I think that goes for
yeah,
everyone. Boom. Strong communication skills
yes,
is definitely a dub. Follow-up reaches out first, which is quite rare nowadays.
yes.
I think this means like like
I
what
think
does
this
this
feels
mean?
gendered.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I think
Absolutely. But is this like something's already established and like they're waiting for them to like Snapchat them and like text them?
I don't know, maybe, like, like, sending the first good morning text or the first text of the day, like, being
Okay.
comfortable doing so,
Okay.
not having where it's, like, one person's expected to put in all of that effort. I don't know.
Okay. If that is it, then yeah, 1000%. I concur with this message. The communication skills I think is tough because I am someone that studied how to properly communicate. And I also just think that like in school, I think arts students just have a better understanding of like communication skills and
Mhm.
development. So some people just don't know how to communicate. And also communication skills stem from how they were
Yeah,
raised a lot of the time. So I think you can teach someone who's willing to learn how to properly communicate and
agree.
like your
And some
yeah, like
people
what you want.
communicate
Like
in different ways, like, some people aren't gonna be great over
mhm,
text, some people aren't gonna be great over phone call, some people will be better in person.
right.
I'm personally better over text typically as a analytical girl, and, like, I think when it's, like, communicating your feelings, some people just don't know that they're safe to do that. Like, some people just haven't ever
Yeah,
especially, like, boys typically haven't grown up in scenarios where they're allowed to be like, "You know, that made me kinda sad."
vulnerable.
So I think it
Yeah.
is if you have the patience, I think it's a teachable thing.
However, it's really great when someone
Yeah.
can communicate and they are like for instance, like we'll see posts of like I see them on Twitter all the time and like someone like, "Oh my god, this is such a great form or like such a great example of communication." And it's this guy and it's like, "Hey, I had a great time like on our date last week. Like I'm actually going out of town.
Mhm.
Um, I'm not ignoring you. Like
Yes.
have a great week. Like I won't have service." Like that. Like those are prime examples I think of strong
Huge.
communication skills, especially when you're dating in your early 20s because we're not going to be dating people that we're like accustomed to seeing all the time like we are in college. Like we're not going to be like maybe if it's in the workplace, but there's, like, rules about that, so I don't know. I I don't work in corporate. But yeah, anyways, cool. Communication. Communication is hot. Okay, doesn't vape.
Don't care.
I don't
Indifferent.
care. I'm super indifferent to that, but yeah,
I
I
can
can
respect
see
people
that.
caring about that, though. Like, that's totally
Yeah, I
valid.
do too. I do too. Yeah. Okay, doesn't try to sleep with you immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's, like, well established. I think it's, like, engraved in us to avoid men or women that just try to, like, sleep
And
with
it's
you and
so
hook up with you.
obvious. Like, that's the thing is
It's so
people that are
obvious.
like that, even if they're trying to hide it, like, you can see right through it. You can see through it in the text leading up to your first date, and
Oh, I
it's
know.
just like, I'm thankful that they're so obvious about it. Like, save my time.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's a good way to put it. Is good with kids and isn't rude or dismissive of children.
Yeah.
isn't rude to children. Yeah, I think if you're like someone you're saying or like someone you're interested in is rude to children, you need to
Yeah, weird
run
vibes.
away.
Even in, like, friends, like, if I had friends that were,
Super
like,
weird.
really, like, rude to kids or something, I think that's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's super weird. Also, like, how cute when you see someone you're into, like, hanging out with
Yeah.
kids. It's, like, almost better than puppies, but not really. Um, okay, has a diverse taste of music.
Mhm.
That's important. I also, I'm really into, like, music banter. Like, I think it's okay to have different tastes
Yeah.
of music. And I think it's kind of fun to be able to introduce new kinds of music to someone you're seeing. So, yeah, I think either way, but I also don't think that you should, like, be dismissive of someone who doesn't have the same exact music taste as yours. That's
Yeah,
weird. Like, you should
or
want to,
someone
like,
that
be
doesn't have,
exposed to
like,
a
a
whole new.
super broad music taste. It's kinda just like, "Okay,
Yeah,
well," I don't think that that would be, like, bad to me.
yeah. Okay, we're almost done. The list is shortened. Respects your space and isn't overwhelmingly too much, especially in the
Yeah.
beginning. Yeah. And then follow up also respects your boundaries and is able to create boundaries with you. I
Mm,
really like this one. I think it's super important that you pursue something with someone who is able to create boundaries with you and can respect your boundaries. That doesn't mean that you telling them what they can and cannot wear is a
yeah.
boundary, but normal
Setting your own
boundaries
boundaries, like, "Oh,
is
I don't go out," like, if someone's like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to come over at this time, that's just how it's gonna be," or, "I'm not gonna be able to see you at this time during the week," like, that's a boundary because it's their own
yeah.
thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I also think oh my gosh, boundaries with your friends, so big. I feel like I could do like a whole episode on that, but like respecting your boundaries of not just your intimate and romantic relationships, but your platonic relationships is an essential life
Yeah,
skill and understand what is a boundary and what is not a boundary. Okay, moisturizes and doesn't use two in one.
true. I just talked about this today when I was brainstorming with my coworker. But
Two in one?
yeah, just that, like, we both were like, if they have a skincare, but not a crazy skincare, like, I don't wanna see that you're using the same niche, really researched products that I'm using, because then I'm gonna be like, "Well, where did you learn that? Like, who told you about glow screen?"
How do how do you know about
Yeah,
niacinamide?
like, I
Who taught you ordinary?
they're not on Skin Talk,
Yeah.
like, we know that they're not.
No, they're literally not. Yeah, that's hilarious. I've never even thought about it that way. It's like, who is telling you these things? That's funny. Yeah, but if they take care of their skin,
Yeah.
great. Thank you. Okay. Um, specific, but waits for you to get inside before they drive
Yeah,
away.
ew, if someone doesn't do that, so rude. Even with your friends.
It is so rude. I won't text you
Yeah,
back. I think that's a make it or break it for me. I think if you
and it's
drive
always the guy who, like,
away before.
speeds away really loudly, and it's like
I know, and it's like, you totally just
yeah,
ruined it. Yeah. Next, respects female artists, such as an example, Taylor
mhm.
Swift.
I love when a guy is a Barb
Yeah, I think
and he's a Nicki Minaj fan. I
oh my
love
god,
it.
I love when a guy is a barb. I love it too. I think it's, like, so sweet, but and silly, but also, like, so
Yeah,
hilarious. Okay, actually engages and listens to you and also makes a point to make eye contact
it's
with
kind
you.
of bare minimum, to be honest.
I think that's total bare minimum. Like,
I'm
literally
sorry
just,
to
like,
whoever
be in an
said that.
interview and, like, not make eye contact with the person interviewing you, like
Yeah, I'm really sorry to whoever suggested that. I just think that listening to you is, like, bare minimum.
yeah, it totally is bare minimum and someone like, yeah, you yeah. Okay, being generally open-minded,
Mhm.
yes. This one's super specific. This was from a guy, which I, like, appreciated. Pushes their chair in at home or in
Oh,
public,
yeah. I don't wanna be doing that
and
after
I'm
you
like,
because
"Wow."
I will, like, I'm that kind of person that naturally
Oh, yeah,
does.
absolutely, absolutely. I also am someone that, like, will stack the
Mhm.
dishes at a
Yeah.
restaurant just because I, like, feel obligated to, and it helps out the
Mhm.
busser. I liked that because then I'm like, "What girls are not pushing their chairs in? Push your damn chair
Yeah,
in."
like, you're leaving it in the walkway, and it's just such a simple thing.
It's simple and it's just and this goes into, with being well-mannered and having good table etiquette. I think that's super important. It's
Yeah.
very attractive when someone is well-mannered.
I
Just
can't do
yeah,
people
super
not
easy.
having I can't do it. Even in friends, like, if you're not mannered, I can't be around you.
Yeah, I am a huge, like, napkin on the lap person on
Yeah.
dates. Like, that is a huge indicator for me. If they put their napkin on their lap, I'm like, "Okay, I made note of that, I see it." Um, that's important. I also wanna go back to the pushing their chair in because once I saw this, I added, taking their cart back at the
Oh,
grocery store
yeah.
because there are so many people that don't do
I
that.
like it's literally 5 more steps, and when I see that your cart is so full that you just unloaded your whole trunk is full of your groceries or whatever, but you can't walk the 2 steps to put your cart away, like, I'm furious. It's like when you go to turn
Also, your cart is, like, empty now. It's literally so
I
light.
there's nothing worse than going and turning and you're, like, about to go park next to an SUV, so you can't see what's on the other side, and you pull into the spot, and then you see that there's a cart in it, and it's like, that
Yeah.
will if I'm having a bad day, that's sending me over the
That will
edge.
that will make me wanna
Yeah.
end it. Like, I will scream. I will leave the grocery
I'm,
store.
like,
I will just
hoping
not
karma
be
gets
touching
you.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, that is it for my followers
Mhm.
list. What do you have,
Okay,
Lonnie?
so, I thought about this today. Like I said, I was talking about it with my coworker because I was recognizing that I have way more, like, red flags to avoid than green, but I do have some big ones to bring to the table. Someone that tips
Okay.
well, and someone that understands that
Mm,
you should be tipping. Like, it's not
yeah,
a conversation, it's not a question. If we're sitting down and having a meal, you should be tipping. And honestly, I tip everywhere as a service girl. I can spare a
yeah,
dollar, I can spare a couple, like, Um,
yeah.
another one has a car has a car.
I totally okay, this might be, like, just super, super naive of me, but I saw that and I'm like, I feel like that is also bare minimum, but I
No, it
understand
is.
that some people either live in the city some people live in the city, might not have a car.
Yeah,
Some people might not be in a financial position to afford a car. So I think I get that better now.
I
However,
think
yeah,
having a car
yes.
or at least figuring out a way to make it work, and I think
Mhm.
you should never be expecting, unless you've had a conversation about it, that somebody's just going to do something for you or financially cover something. Like, I think
Right.
that's kind of becomes a red flag for me. A controversial one that I bring to the
That sounds
table,
personal.
yeah, I just am unlucky. Um, a controversial one that I'll bring to the
You
table
totally
is having a mixed friend group. Needs to have a friend group that's not just boys and not just girls. Needs to be able to show whether you're a
yeah.
girl or a boy that you can maintain friendships with someone of the opposite sex. Like,
And
hugely
yeah.
important to me.
Well, you and I just talked about this like the other day, the importance of guys that we're seeing having
Yeah.
female friends because it kind of I don't know, it helps add that element of, like, the female perspective, especially for guys who have girlfriends, and you might be in, like, a debacle of some sort. Like, you it's important and also, like, it's important for us to have guy friends or male friends that can also offer that perspective, but like you said, it's also, like, we need to be able to maintain those relationships and,
Yeah.
like, have a
Show
normal
that you see
relationship with
them
the person of the
as a
opposite gender.
person and that, like, that doesn't contribute into the way that you view them. Because if you're not
Right.
able to maintain a friendship or just be cool with some of the opposite sex, then I'm gonna be a little worried about A, how you view me, but B, how you view other women. And I think it goes both ways.
Totally. Yeah, I agree. I like that
I
one a
think
lot.
another one, super simple, like, not a picky eater. I think this goes into, like, being open-minded, which was brought up earlier, but open-minded in general to
Yeah.
food too. Personally, I couldn't
Mhm.
do someone that's not willing to try things. Like, I'm not saying you have to
Yeah.
love every food, but I like if you tried them. And then
Yeah, if you're, like, reluctant to even have a wide variety, it's
yeah.
gross. It's also, like, picky is, like, red
Yeah, to
flag.
me, yeah.
It's like, grow
I
up.
seriously no
Yeah,
disrespect.
yeah.
My 2 other ones are small. Um, enjoys or can pretend to enjoy and tolerate reality TV with me or whatever silly show I'm watching. I think, um, that's, like, important, and it's so standard and typical to have where they're like, "Ugh, this show is so dumb," but then they're there 45 minutes later, and they're like, "Wait, she said what?"
Eating it
Um,
up. Yeah.
so I like if we could just skip the fake pretending to hate it, I would prefer that, and I think that'd be a green flag. And then my last one that I think of is I like when a person smells good, and I like if I point it
Mhm.
out, like, "Oh, like, I really like how you smell," if they make a point when they're continuing to see me to wear that same scent, because it's, like, super small and
Oh, because
thoughtful.
they know you like
Yeah, and
it.
I do the same thing if
Yeah.
somebody's like, "Oh my god, like, I love
Mhm.
the smell of your perfume," or something, then I'll know because I have so many. I mean, I don't expect that everybody has
Right,
a bunch, but I have, like, 4
right.
nice signature perfumes, and then I'll stick with that one, and I'll make sure so that they, like, remember me and they associate me with that smell, you know? That's, like, a small, weird,
Yeah.
kinda niche.
That's so sweet. I like that
Yeah.
a lot. But I definitely do the same thing. I will I will wear the same scent if they like it. That made me think of another one, which is super generic, but I feel like most people can
Mhm.
agree that if someone can remember small details
Yeah.
about you, total green flag. Like, if I like, for instance, it could be anything, like food or music taste or just a small detail about you or a story that you told
Mhm.
them and they can remember that, or something like you've been wanting or like you've talked about. Like, I just think that is so thoughtful when people can remember those things about you, or even like what kind of sandwich you order.
Yeah.
I, I think that might be top of my
It's on this
list of
it's
green
on the
flags.
same lines of, like, "This made me think of you." Which that's a huge green
Mhm.
flag to me, like, that even to my I love when my
Yeah,
friends
I
send
love
stuff like
that.
that, like, even a TikTok, and they're like, "Oh, this made me think of you," or "This is something you'd like," or something like that.
Literally. Or
Yeah.
like a song like, "Oh my gosh, I really think you'd like this."
Mhm.
That is like sext
Me too.
right there.
It goes,
Oh,
like,
I love it.
a really long way, like, I'm posting it on my private story and being like, "Guys."
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Okay. Do you have any other green flags?
I think just generally, like, not taking themselves too seriously, like, I love a silly goose. I'm
Oh,
I
yeah.
like
I love a silly goose.
somebody that's down to, like, dance and doesn't care how they're looking. I like somebody
Yeah.
that, oh, I think this kind of along the same lines, whatever, someone that makes an effort to get along with your friends. Like, I think overstepping into somebody's friend group and trying to be friend and be everybody's best friend right away, that becomes a problem. But if someone, like, making it
Right.
evident that they want your friends to like them and doing it in a genuine way of trying to build a bond with them, I think is really important because personally, my friends are really important to me. So I think just as much as my mom's opinion matters, honestly, my friend's opinion matters to that level too.
Oh, absolutely, because they're the ones that are gonna know everything
Yeah.
going on in your whatever it is that you're doing. But that goes, that goes with family as
Mhm.
well. Someone that puts in an effort to meet, get along with your family. Um, Huge fan of it, and this is more of a relationship thing. If you are seeing someone and they go out of their way and you have established a relationship between them and your family or your parents, and they do like the Mother's Day text
Yeah.
or like the birthday text. I think that is super important too. But that's not like early stages of dating. That's more of like a
Yeah.
relationship thing, which I'm sure we could do like a whole list on too. But Yeah, brief list of green flags. I think what made this so fun is that, like, all of these, the ones that I was naming off, which I agree with a lot
Mhm.
of them, came from other people, so I'm glad that
Yeah.
we kinda got to yeah, I'm glad we got to discuss them and share our opinions on them, and if we disagreed, don't hate us. That just means we have different taste, and
Comes
that's
from
a wonderful thing.
experience.
But yeah, it's all about experience. We all have very different
Mhm.
experiences, although some experiences might be more similar than we'd like to admit, like sharing a crazy
Mhm.
boyfriend like Jonah Hill. Um, we can't end the episode
Yeah.
without some speed questions. I know, this is like my favorite part. So we are now calling these case
Mhm.
Qs. That is gonna be the name unless something comes up and rolls off the tongue even better. But I'd like to shout out Lainey for that because that was Lainey's call. I love it. Case Qs, it's quick, it's easy. Um, but okay, here we go. Gonna start off strong. We're gonna do a kiss, Mary
Okay.
kill. Yeah, I was just like trying to figure out in my head how I could like not like have to say
Mhm.
the F word unnecessarily. Okay, kiss, Mary kill. Young Joe Biden, Austin Butler, and Uncle Jesse from Full House. Not John Stamos, but Uncle
Okay, okay,
Jesse
okay.
specifically.
Um, I'm marrying Austin Butler, I'm kissing Uncle
Mhm.
Jesse, and I don't really know much about Joe Biden, but he's, like, not my type, so I'm sorry.
Young
I don't
Joe
know
Biden.
I
You'll
don't
have to
know
look it
who
up
would be in
after.
place of him right now if I killed him in this moment back in the day, but
Yeah,
I don't wanna worry about that.
yeah, that's a good order. I love it. Okay, how much do you believe a bathing suit should realistically cost? Specifically, like whether you're buying one together, like a top and a bottom, or you're buying separately, what it should add up to or what it should be sold as is one.
Amazing
What like
question.
because right now bathing suits are crazy expensive.
Mhm. So,
Not here for
my
it.
thoughts, um, I think the only way that you're not and, like, let's talk about it, the only way that you're not paying more than 20 bucks for a bathing suit is if you're buying, like, through Shein or Zaful or Amazon or whatever. I'm really not fond of that.
Yeah. I think even Amazon, you are not gonna have good
To
luck
be
finding a bathing
honest,
suit less than
yeah,
$20.
but someone shout out to my girl, Georgia, Strawberry Milk Mob.
Strawberry
Her
Milk Bob!
bathing suit line is so cute, and she's so hands-on and shows you, like, all of the behind the scenes and shows the production of it.
And she takes all the pictures
Yeah,
herself,
like, it's
like yeah,
I'm not sure the entire sustainability of it, but I know that a lot of work goes into what she does, and I got one of her bathing suits, top and bottom matching, and they come in different sizes, so it's not like, "Oh, I'm a large all the way through or a small," because that's not how
right.
bodies always are. Um, but I got one for only $50 and I felt super satisfied and I felt like that was super reasonable. I think it came in like
Cool.
3 days from Canada, like,
Nice.
really good, and they're all so cute.
Does she live in
Yeah, she's
Canada?
a Canadian queen.
I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
um
I love her
I
so
think
much.
she's awesome, and I think she kind of set the precedent for, like, you can make something super amazing quality, super flattering, not being drop shipped from a negative, bad situation, um, and you
Right.
can charge, like, a reasonable price for it. I think 50 is where I'm happy. I'm not going over 60,
Okay.
to be honest.
60 is a
And it
lot.
sucks because
It's
there's,
a lot.
like, Frankie's Bikinis, I'm not touching you, I'm sorry, super not worth it. I don't even think they're not my style personally. Um,
Yeah.
but, like, Black Bow or Black I think it's Black Bow, um, and this
Yeah.
brand, like, Tropical, they always come up in my
Yeah.
Instagram ads,
Same.
and then I, like, look and I'm like, "Oh, cool, cool." This, like, major brand that has no sense of personality to it is charging $120 for this set. Sad,
Yeah, they're ridiculously expensive.
sad.
I'm all for strawberry milk bob. Love it. Oh gosh. But Yeah, she
Mhm.
rocks, and her swimsuits are so cute. Everyone I want is, like, sold
That's the
out, so
thing.
it's been quite the
Yeah,
struggle.
you have to, like,
Yeah.
really that's the downside. You have to, like, watch her drop and set an
She's
alarm.
just also, like oh, absolutely, and she is a marketing
Yes.
genius, like, she is just really just soared with that brand, and she's, like, hiring assistants and, like, interns and stuff. She's totally doing the damn
Love
thing.
her.
Cool girl, and her TikToks are effing
Yeah.
hilarious, so go follow her, Strawberry Milk Mob.
Come
Okay,
on the pod,
what
Strawberry
do you
Milk
think is
Mob.
the most
Come on the
what?
pod.
I literally would want her on the pod so bad. Are you
Be
kidding?
amazing.
This is
You'll
this
get
is me
there.
speaking it into
Yeah.
existence. Yeah, existence. Yeah, or Miss Georgia. Okay, what do you think is the most attractive taste of music? Like,
Um,
that makes sense, right? It's pretty self-explanatory.
I think, like honestly, I don't care unless somebody was, like, just obsessed with country. Um, I don't
Mm,
care otherwise, but I would say I think, like, alternative, like alternative because that can be, like, alternative R&B, it can be, like, alternative
yeah.
pop, um, so leave that
Mhm.
general.
Rock.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'm a big fan of alt.
yeah.
Love it. Okay. Andy Dwyer from Parks and Rec or Jim Halpert from The Office?
Andy, I don't like Jim.
Really?
I'm not really a fan, TBH. Um, I mean, I
Okay.
like him and I think he's so funny, um, but yeah, I wasn't like a Jim and Pam stan. Maybe that stems from being compared to Jim and Pam with my crazy high school boyfriend. Bad vibes.
Yeah, I
But
felt that.
also, if I could have anyone in that show, it's Michael Scott, and I want him so bad.
Oh god, you so
He's
would.
so he's my king. I love him so hard. I can't even
I just, like, think that I just would sit in I think yeah. Yeah, yeah, I don't know.
I just wanna
Okay,
squeeze him.
um, so this question actually was inspired by Miss Georgia. Would you rather have a boyfriend that golfs every every weekend with the boys or plays video games often throughout the week?
Golfs. You know,
Yeah,
like, I grew up with a grandpa who's a golfer, and, like, all of the men in my family were, like, Sunday golf, and they were gone all day, but you know what that meant? That meant that me and grandma are having the time of our lives at Costco, you know?
I
Or, like,
love it.
I
I
think that
love it.
people I don't know, I like my space, so if you're going out and having golf with the boys,
Yeah,
then what's stopping me from having brunch with the girls, you know?
exactly. Like,
Video games
yeah,
all week, though, is like,
that is a I
no,
loved
no,
that.
no, no. Video games to be honest, at this age, video games are no.
I agree. I know, I'm very lucky. Ryan doesn't play video games, and I'm like,
Yeah, I've dodged that
spoiled.
bullet for the last year, which has been really nice.
That's
Yeah.
good. It's important. Okay, last one. If you were given a kitten right now, what would you name it?
Fettuccine, and I call
Love.
it Fetty for short.
What about feta?
That's kinda cute too. Yeah, feta's kind of cuter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, feta, like, on the name
Mhm.
tag?
I like I like
I
pasta
love it.
names for dogs and cats.
I
Like
That's cute.
Gnocchi. I saw that
That's
there's
cute.
this Pomeranian on TikTok named Gnocchi, and I think that's super
Oh,
cute.
that's
Yeah.
so good. That is so good. Okay, I totally respect that. That is so valid. Well, that is it. I'm like, "That's it." It's been an hour and 9 minutes. But, Lon, thank you for coming on
Thanks for
again.
having me. I've had
I'm
so
s
much fun.
It's been so fun, and I'm sure we'll see more of you. But, yeah, that was so much fun. Thank you for those who contributed to the list of
Yeah,
green
thank you
flags,
guys.
and that was great. Great content. Loved it. Make sure to go follow Lonnie on Instagram. You can find her at LT Food and Life. That's LTFOODNLIFE.
Woohoo.
for anyone that needs that spelled for them. Okay. Well, yeah, this was great. Thanks for watching. Bye,
Bye,
Lon.
Kaylee. Bye, guys.